Welcome to Justified Riches Podcast. Justified Riches is a financial literacy podcast dedicated to empowering individuals with the knowledge and tools to achieve financial independence and professional success. Each episode bridges the gap between ambition and achievement by bringing together a seasoned mentor and an eager mentee for transformative conversations.
Frederick Douglass once said, "It's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men." And our mission here at Justified Riches is to create a stronger generation of youth through financial literacy.
I'm your host, Rich Farris, aka Positivity Pusher.
And I'm your other host, Justin, aka Stock Knock Life.
And together we hope that you enjoy the show, take notes, and sit down and relax.
Enjoy the episode.
All right, so we are here for episode 5. We know it's been a little bit of Justified Riches. I am your co-host, Richie Tavares. Here I have the pleasure of introducing my co-host.
I'm Justin, aka Stock Knock Life.
Yes, aka Real Positivity Pusher on IG. And we have like a sincere pleasure. You know, it's been back to back. We just filmed before with my son Christian, having awesome conversations. So we have like legacy over here, part 2, because that's what we do over here at Justified Riches. We're a community, want to keep things in the family, and also, of course, want to highlight the superstars that are in our community as well. So we have the extreme pleasure of introducing here Mr. James Ackes. The list goes on and on, like modern day Renaissance man. He can like help you out with something real complicated in the house as through his skills, laying floors like beautifully and magnificently. He could, we'll keep this legit, but he could serenade, a crowd of individuals with his voice. He's also a phenomenal singer. And by the way, relationship advice and coaching as well. So that is something that we're going to tap into all of that. We're so excited to have him. And from a special standpoint too, someone I've known a long time, he actually showed my son how to ride a bike. So that's like, near and dear over here, Mr. James Ackes. And please, if you want to introduce our other guest.
Oh, yes. So our returning guest, of course.
Yes, returning.
Jasmine. I know things are looking up from the last time that we talked. You know, a lot of good things is going on your side. So it's a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, great. So people don't know this is my good friend also, you know. I like to call him the master penny pincher. Just, he has certain ways that he goes about doing things, certain things that he also has taught me, or I should say learned from. But my first question I'm going to ask you, right? Mm-hmm. So was it something, I would say as a youth growing up, that made you look at money a certain way? Was there something like from birth or something that happened, like where you're like, okay, I need to view money like this?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't on purpose, but like, coming from a broken house with my parents and then being actually in a house. So, and that mortgage had to get paid. So I'm 12, 13 years old, just me and my mom. So I was thrust into like a leadership role as far as financial, situation is about. So I had to get a job early, contribute like majority of my paychecks. I remember at the time when I was about 13, I had a job working in the school. So I would have to pay X amount, which was like 30%, 40% of whatever I made, which was pretty a lot for a kid.
Right.
But at the same time, it had to be done, and I was okay with it. But it definitely made me, as I grew older, realize how much and how important a dollar is. A penny is. That's why a penny pincher. I could squeeze a penny. So realizing that I had to do that. Then by the time I was 18, had a car, had to pay my own insurance. Coming from Brooklyn, that insurance was expensive, so I had to figure out how to do that. So just all these responsibilities that was on me at a young age, it made me realize that, the importance of a dollar. And I never lost that. I never got older and started saying, hey, I could just, spend here, spend that. It stayed with me because it was a constant. So from 13, 14, 15, paying various bills, for my mom, for the house, and paying various bills for my car. So as I got older and got a family, I definitely, incorporate that into how I deal with my bills now.
Right.
So.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I when we first started, chilling, hanging out, I think I only had 2 kids at the time. You had 4 kids, and certain ways I couldn't understand. Now that I have 4 kids, I kind of understand a little bit more. But I remember the first time. I don't think it was the first time I went to your house, but I remember going to your house one time, and you had like 3 gallons, empty gallons, like lined up, and you poured like half water.
Oh, well, Jazz will tell you about that.
Yeah,
What do
you know
call-
about
what do you
that,
call
Jazz?
that?
Yeah,
What
let
do you call
Jazz
that?
tell the story.
Well, that would be called water juice. And it was very financially, smart, and it was also healthier because it cut down the sugar of the juice, but it also was able to stretch 1 bottle of a juice into like 5. I jacked it, but like 2 bottles of juice. And that's what my dad would give us all the time. Our friends would come over. They'll complain about why this juice isn't sweet enough. But at the time, the more they came over, they got used to drinking it. So
Right.
That was always funny with me because for me the juice it was always too sweet for me anyway. So I pretty much will always cut my juice with some water because it was just too sweet. So I was like, hey, if you do this, you could pretty much I put my chemist outfit on. I say you could pretty much almost go 50-50 with certain brands like Juicy Juice and stuff. So
oh,
a little high, yeah.
twisted. That's good.
Yes.
So you would take 2 gallons of juice and turn it into
No, I would take like a juicy juice, like which is real sweet, and it's
Oh, yeah.
it's no high fructose corn syrup, but whatever they put in it is very sweet. So you
Right.
take a 2 liter bottle of that and put it in a gallon and add it to you go 50-50, and it's pretty much fine for us. And my kids got used to it, but at the same time, when they would go to people's house, what was your ask for? Your ask for, you have any water juice? But they were teeny. And they were like, what is water juice? So that was always funny to me. But but I did that for years early. Just one of those penny pinching things that add up,
Right.
You doubling up on your juice amongst other things. You do that in other applications as far as the house is concerned. If you are able to cut corners 20%, 30%, those things add up. That's penny pinching, and eventually you'll see it. You'll see that in your bank account, in your budgeting.
Definitely, I used it myself too.
Use it. Oh, you used the
Yeah,
word?
Yeah,
Oh, you
I
made
saw-
fun. You made fun of me, but you used it. Huh?
Yeah, I started to use it. Once that 4th kid came, mortgage got to get paid, stuff got to get paid, some got to get cut. So let's cut this sugar,
Oh,
But it definitely does save you some dollars and cents,
Oh man, big. And it's funny, like you said, I think one of the things too in for financial, and especially too, not everyone, right? Anyone who's a human being, but sometimes as a minority, right? Or sometimes in our community, we're so driven by like what people say. And it can and again, this happens in all communities, but at least speaking from my own experience where, you want to prove or you want to show something. And I think one of the things that we learn is that the truly financially literate people who are holding it down aren't really concerned with how they appear outward. They're very confident. They know what they're doing. They know where their money is going, and they're not really concerned with the opinions of anyone else, which changes. And then ironically, water juice is actually healthier than the regular juice there, right? So I think these are, just some of the things on how you have to not be concerned what everyone else is thinking. You gotta kind of have your own, especially as the man of the house, right? You gotta have what you're looking to do, what you're looking to accomplish, and know, what you want to do best for your children, for sure.
Yeah, and then on the last episode we was talking about, Christian was talking about the starter pack. So I don't know if you know what the starter pack is, Jasmine. Well, it was explained to us the starter pack is like, I guess, like clothes that
He's like, I didn't even brand that term now.
right, the starter pack. Like, he went out and spent his money on, say, some Nike Tech, some fresh duds and stuff like that, just to feel fit. So, what do you think about that, James, as far as how do you go about when it comes to spending money on like clothes, and like what's your mindset when it comes to that? Like does brand matter? Does it
That's
how do you
tough
go
on me
about it?
because I'm really like what you said as far as not caring what no one thought. That's how I was. We went to the same high school. I went years before you, obviously, but
Right.
I didn't care what no one thought. When I was younger. Nowadays, I'm not sure if I could pull it off. I thought I was looking good. I was hot stepping. But
Oh, see, so you didn't think
yeah, so you talk about like in the 90s. It's like the early 90s. I'm in high school. So I had my job. I was like I told you. So I'm like 13, 14, 15. So I would just go to this place called Conway's, get my little silk shirt with my little slacks,
Right.
wearing some like dress shoes from Payless, looking sharp. People thought I was sharp, but the dudes with the name brand, they would make fun of me. You know, they'll come like, "Oh, what is this, Mr. Stud Muffin with the silks?" They'll make jokes, but at the same time, I feel like I was hostile. I felt fine. I felt, I was different, but it definitely helped me, pay the bills, help my mom pay the bills, but at the same time, I was able to still look fine for myself. But you're gonna take a little ridicule from your friends here and there, and you develop a thick skin, which is important these days. But
Right.
yes, so nowadays I'm a little older, so pretty much the same thing. I'll get a little name brand here and there, but pretty much is what looks good on me personally.
Right.
Because a lot of times just the way it fits you. I mean, they always say I've did some research, not to get off base, but when it comes to clothes, they say the way you can tell the rich folks from the lesser, are how it fits them, because they'll have very expensive clothes that you won't see no tags on, but it's tailored for their body.
Right.
So I've always been about that personally, and I didn't know that when I was younger. But I just always bought stuff that fit me well. I was in decent shape when I was younger. I used to work out a little bit, so I didn't feel I needed a name brand because as long as the clothes fit me properly, it looked nice. Whereas instead of it saying Guess or Carl Kanai from back in the days in large numbers, it just fits you nice. So, that's what I was into.
Right. I try to tell like young people, like, do you want to look rich? Right. Do you want to wear it, or do you want the actual money in your pocket? So make a choice.
Absolutely. A choice, right? Like you said. What about you, Jasmine? What's your thought process on either brands or like how you make purchases?
Honestly, like when it comes to clothes, like I'm big on fashion, and ever since like my nana, she took me, I guess, to my first thrift store back when I was ending middle school, beginning of high school, I think. And like honestly, from there, like I've just been going thrifting all the time for my clothes. Like of course it's like secondhand, but like I'll be in the thrift store for like hours, because first it's therapeutic, and then also just to find like the best things. And like even my dad, he'll go too. I go to the thrift store and I'm able to find like unique clothes that fit me well, and that also are just tailored to my style. Because even so, you go out to the mall or you go out, certain places, and the clothes that are there, first, sometimes it's just a little too inappropriate for what I will wear.
Right.
Then it's like not even stylish, and then everybody just looks the same, But if you want to just have that sense of uniqueness, I like to go thrifting. It saves money in my pocket. Also, sometimes I could maybe do a little bit too much thrifting to where it's kind of biting me in the butt, because I'm trying to save money, but then I'm still spending lots of money going like a lot. Because sometimes I will go like once every week, like last year.
And
cut it
storage
down.
too. You gotta store that stuff.
Yeah, true, storage. And even sometimes too, like I would, the storage. Yeah, I'll buy stuff from the thrift store, then to like profit off of it, I'll sell stuff on Depop. Like I actually just made a sale yesterday, and I just dropped it off of the post office. It was like a nice, fully 100% wool Ralph Lauren sweater. I sold it for like $35.
Wow.
And then that's like another way where you can turn thrifting into a profitable thing.
Wow.
No, she's real good with it, definitely.
No, so dad's habits has definitely passed down to you.
And come to find out, I got it from my mom, so
Yeah.
Nana. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She took me to Unique right in Levittown, because she will always go for like the 4th of July sales, 50% off everything. So.
So Savers too? You
Oh
go
yeah,
to
Savers, of course.
Yeah. What's the other one you go to?
I used
All
to
this free promotion over
go
here
to
for these
American
brands.
Thrift sometimes.
One day we'll get paid for this.
Oh yeah, true.
We'll get paid for the
Yeah.
advertising.
Right.
Go right to
Yes.
Justify Riches.
Yeah. It's
You
fun.
said Savers and what else?
It'd be Savers, American Thrift, Unique Thrift. There's like one in Levittown, one in Garden City. Like I would say, like out of high school, me and my best friend Ange, we would always go to the thrift store like on the way back from college, like maybe twice a week.
Right.
And then we'll hit up the thrift stores, and then we'll each find stuff. Sometimes we'll find the same thing that we both want, and it's like, dang, we can't both have it, so one of us will buy it and then we'll share it. Sometimes.
Yeah, because it might not be something that everyone's into, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it does save you a little bit of money. Like me,
Yeah.
I'll get my when the kids were young and they was just in my kids are outdoorsy kids, so they in the dirt at Hempstead Lake Park. Obviously, we live right next to that park. So I would get some of their sneakers from there because I know they'll dirty up anyway.
Right.
Now it was a difference. So now they get their sneakers. They're on a basketball team and stuff. So, but back then when they were teeny and they were just getting in the dirt, I would get that from there. The little baseball gloves, basketballs. Because they leave them outside and they get rained on, it gets all messed up. So I said I'm not gonna buy no brand new basketball anymore. So I get it from Savers secondhand. So a lot of things. I got golf clubs for myself right there. So.
Golf clubs. I need to actually set of golf clubs.
Yeah. You been there, Savers?
Savers once or twice. I have actually. Okay. Pretty cool too. Thrifting is was super important for me. My mother actually put me on, and this was maybe like, this is like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Where it was like maybe sometimes you kept it on the low. Back in the days, like now it's like, yo, thrifting is awesome. But I remember there's a cool one in Garden City, St. Vincent de Paul. And what happened in my banking career is it advanced so quickly that I find myself as a kid in adult spaces. So all of a sudden I'm like promoted as a business specialist and I'm gonna be hanging with 30, 40-year-olds and it's raining and all I have is like a hood jacket and I'm supposed to be like a business person. So fortunately my mom was able to get me a raincoat, get me a suit. Yeah. So I was very in that promotion, looking like everybody else. I mean, the raincoat was a little big. I think it was like 3 sizes too big, but it's a raincoat. It blends in.
It's doing its job.
It blends in nicely. But yeah, the power of thrifting for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nah, this guy put me on to Savers,
Savers.
Yeah, there's actually a dollar store, right? And then right next to the dollar store is Savers. And like, I've always been to the dollar store. I've never been to Savers. And this guy, for the longest time, you got to go inside Savers. Yeah,
it's right there.
Yeah.
That's how I stumbled into it going to the dollar store, actually. I was like, what is this place? I kept looking. And I went in. I found all kinds of stuff, man. I'll be on my motorcycle sometimes with a backpack going to the dollar store coming from the gym. And then I said, man, I got to start driving because sometimes Savers, they have some,
Oh, yeah.
some stuff.
You want to save it.
Mm-hmm. So I couldn't fit it. I couldn't fit it in my backpack, so I started having to drive. So yeah, I definitely recommend that sometimes. It's like you said, thrifting now is a thing, obviously. But like I said, also just for being frugal, and penny pinching, you could definitely, it adds up for in certain categories where you thrift, opposed to you need something new because to make you. Something new makes you feel good, obviously.
Yeah,
no name brand makes you feel good, obviously. So you can treat yourself, but for other things, you could go thrift and cut corners there a little bit.
Oh, absolutely huge. And thank you. So for our audience who's just tuning in, I'm Richie, your co-host with Justin here for Justified Riches, and we've got our awesome guests, James and Jasmine. And some of the things that we're covering in this is really financial mindset, right? The pitfalls sometimes of keeping up with the Joneses or worrying too much about what others are thinking. Also, too, which we'll go over, value. What you find with the most affluent individuals, it's not about who's buying what or, is this the right thing to buy or that the right thing to buy? It's more about value. Individuals are very mindful of their money and they just want to see value for that money. And one of the cool things too that James actually inspired this, we're going to go over the difference between the word frugal and the word cheap. And I feel like, as a public relations specialist, I feel like frugal has gotten a bad name. Frugal that word can be misunderstood and it can be confused with cheap. And I know if I was frugal, I would be very offended if people were confusing me with the word cheap because they're two totally different things here. So James, our guest, has inspired here where we've got and for our audience, this is historical. So we've got a skit here called, and thank you, Justin, Frugal or Cheap. All right. So frugal or cheap? What is the definition of the word frugal? Christian, what's the definition of the word frugal? Oh, Theo. Oh, yeah, there you go. Whoever.
Sparing or economical with regard to money or food.
Sparing?
I would say so. Yeah, I always thought frugal is like penny pinching with efficiency. So you're efficient. So whatever you're doing is efficient as far as the usage, and then it's efficient as far as how much you spend on it. That's what I would say personally. That's what it means to me, frugal.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you for that. How would you say, how would you define?
I would being called cheap, I would take that, as a little bit disrespect, even though, the opposite of frugal. Like one of my other best friends, she would call me a frugal gal. Kind of just a fancier version, where I'm just not cheap, where I just will always get the cheapest things, you know what I mean? But frugal is where you're saving money, like my dad said, in efficient ways, whether that be with your clothes, with your food. You can find affordable food Whole Foods, but not as much money that it costs. And fix the mic.
So like,
Complaint.
what Christian? Can you give us for cheap?
What the definition of cheap is? Oh yeah, very good, right? So for our audience, we're defining frugal versus cheap. This might be I was this old when I found out.
Yeah, and frugal does get a bad. It gets tied in with cheep.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It gets,
A bad rep a little bit sometimes.
I tell these young guys, the girl call you cheap. So no, I'm frugal.
Yeah,
Frugal's
see?
okay. Google
Alright.
it.
So, being cheap describes a pattern of behavior and attitude towards spending money and allocating resources that prioritizes minimizing cost, often at the expense of quality, relationships, convenience, or long-term value.
Yeah, so it's the opposite.
Ooh, so it's like, right, we talk about money is trading one thing for another. So it's actually, it sounds like from that definition that being cheap is actually, at times can be trading your own satisfaction, right? Or trading relationships, trading these things. Why do we work? We work for money, we work for quality of life. So, right, it's interesting, want to save, but then if we get too wrapped up in cheap, we're actually working against the very thing that we're trying to accomplish by working so hard for this money. Like, right? Oh. If you think about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down. So there's going to be a moment where the audience and we're going to have here our experts break this down for us here. So basically how it works is we're going to read each scenario and then after each one, you're either going to say frugal or cheap and then explain why.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And then if at the end you want to like give a personal example of either a frugal moment or a cheap moment you've witnessed, protect the innocent. We won't mention anybody's names or anything like that. But
Theo, Christian, feel free to anybody want to chime in on this, please.
oh yeah, frugal or cheap scenarios, right? Oh yeah, that could be another thing too. That could be like a street, like tell me somebody cheap, like what that looks like. So, all right. So let me see here. We have. All right, so everyone, it's our first one. Everyone's gonna be, you're gonna say frugal or cheap. So you go out to eat with friends and only order water and no food, and then eat everyone else's leftovers. Frugal or cheap? No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Okay, so everybody's just saying their own opinion.
Well, that's definitely cheap.
That's cheap and greedy.
Okay.
Especially like we said earlier, especially if you have the name brand clothes on.
Right.
You got the brand new Jordans on. You're like, oh, I have a water. Then you eat my French fries. yeah, that's cheap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I definitely hear you on that. And right, it's intention. Intention is such a big thing too in this, right? And again, right, if we keep on going over that word cheap, it's about sacrificing other things at times to accomplish saving money. And it's an art, right? We're not here to say one is right or the other, and that's part of what this is. It's like a gray area of navigating, but we have here individuals that have demonstrated frugality, right? And time is the ultimate teacher that, hey, this does lead to a certain quality of life, and they've actually been able to show others how to do it. So the next one here, you use coupons and discounts, but you still tip your waiter well. Frugal or cheap?
That's frugal. It is.
It's definitely frugal, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Justin. Yep. And yeah, tipping, right? We'll go over. That's a whole other thing, but absolutely. And tipping is important. So you bring your own snacks into the movie theater, even though you can afford concessions. I'm guilty of this.
See, that's where the area gets gray because people will call you cheap for that.
Nah,
But it's actually no.
That's definitely frugal.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's 100% frugal. People will
not
make fun of
cheap.
you. They're like,
Have you seen those prices?
yes,
Yeah.
even
$15
10 years,
for a small Coke? Nah.
$18 for a small Coke.
$10 for a pack of candy that you could get at the dollar store for $1.25.
Yeah, chill.
Yeah, we've been doing that for years. Our family. We bring
Yeah.
our. I mean, we won't bring the popcorn in. That's a little bit too much.
I did that 2 weeks ago.
You brought the popcorn into the.
I bought popcorn in, yeah.
Big jackets, bro. The ladies got the big jackets and stuff, so that makes it a little
Yeah,
easier.
that's
Nah, you want to hear a story? So, have you guys ever been to the movie theater in any other state?
No.
Not for years. Can't
No.
remember, though.
So, I was in California one year. This is back like 2018, 2019. I was in Cali. Decided to go to a movie. They got a whole kind of salad bar where you could put jalapenos, olives, all this in your popcorn, or add it
Oh,
to
in
your
your
nacho,
popcorn.
or you can add it to your nachos, whatever you want. They have the flavorings that you could add for free and everything. I started bringing that stuff. I bought a bottle of jalapenos for my nachos one time.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Not a bottle. I put it in a Ziploc bag.
No, so I'm with you. That's 100% frugal, but they will get at you a little bit. Some of your friends will make a little bit of fun of you, but guess what? They'll be doing the same thing real soon too, though. So
That's the funny part, It's funny because sometimes people joke on you, and then like a year or two later, oh, how'd you do that, or what's that? Once they see, that's why the results are so beautiful in that regard. I know I've been guilty of sometimes like I love going to like all you can eat buffets, and I'll bring my own hot sauce because like I feel like the hot sauce sometimes would be watered down or like like it's like it just tastes weird at the buffet.
They probably are cutting that hot sauce there.
Cutting hot sauce,
Cutting it. I won't cut hot sauce. I'll cut the juice. But I'm not gonna cut the hot sauce. That's for sure.
What does this come to? Cutting hot sauce over here.
Cutting hot sauce is next level.
That's next level. Yeah.
So then one more from food and dining, and then we'll go over. Let's see here. Actually, we'll move on to relationships and social life. So, it's controversial. Let's see. But again, it's the judgment-free zone. So let's see here. You split bills exactly down the penny every time you're with your partner. Frugal or cheap?
When you say your partner, your wife or your girlfriend?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, so I guess we would assume your wife or your girlfriend.
That's two
Or your
different
partner,
things,
partner.
though. Wife and girlfriend is two different things.
Oh, so yeah, marital partner versus like dating partner, right?
I would say that's a little. I mean, it's a tough one. I would say it's cheap, kind of, sort of, but it depends on how you do things. Like we normally have a pool with our money, so we normally like she'll spend, she'll buy it, I'll buy it. We've always been like that. So as far as splitting it to the T to the cent, that's a little bit extra, I think. She could hold that 10 cents. You know what I'm saying?
Kim, I would love to hear Kim jump into the mic on this one. You can't hear. All right, I'll worry about it. So it was more, we're going over frugal or cheap. But so here, that's a good point. You bring one small item to the potluck, but eat most of the food and take leftovers home.
Was that you, Jasmine? You had a potluck a week ago.
I did have a potluck. We were on a cramp of time. Like, she did give a list of what to bring. I bought Hawaiian rolls because she said to bring rolls, and nobody, like, they ate mine, and then there was another one that they like 2 people brought rolls, so me and one other person. They ate all of my rolls, and then like the owner of the home, she said to take leftovers. So we took lots of leftovers, and I just took the rolls that from the other person back home. So I feel like it just depends. If they say to take leftovers, take leftovers. If they don't say to take leftovers and you bring nothing, that is a little bit cheap because now you're using everybody else's food that they spent money on and you didn't bring anything or provide. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for
I've known people to bring Tupperware to potlucks. Like,
Tupperware? Oh, no.
Tupperware.
Yeah.
Ready for leftovers.
Right.
Into the barbecue.
Yeah.
And to the barbecue. And, these are really good points to talk about as we're going over, because I think if we're talking about frugal versus cheap, one of the things we want to keep thinking about, which was profound when I heard it, is that it's about sacrificing one thing for another. So that's what we just don't want to be in a position of, right? So it's not about spending your money. It's not about declining on the money. But if you find that your desire to save a penny affects your relationships. Now, you could be someone who's like, I don't want to be in a relationship with anybody. I don't care. All right, well, then that's like your choice. But if you're someone who's like, man, I really want to feel connected to people. I really want to be down. Why doesn't anybody call me? Why doesn't anybody invite me anymore out? That's where you just want to be cognizant. So I think the main thing is really thinking of what is the whole point of earning the money? It's for a quality of life. It's to obtain something. So we want to make sure that the activity that we're doing is accomplishing that. And to be around other people. Because I'll be honest, I hate to say it. When I was younger, I didn't tip. Like, I didn't realize like the impact. I didn't understand tipping wasn't about saving money. That not tipping has to do with your mindset. It has to do with so many other things. So these are some of the things where I had a very good friend. His name's Regis, where he made me a believer. And he didn't instruct me. He was never like, oh, you need to tip. But I would just see how he would take care of, if it was at the bar, if it was at the restaurant, and then if it was a restaurant that we would frequent, it would be like he was a VIP, and you would think he was leaving $200 every time, and no, it was just managing that 15 to 20%. If he got a free drink here or something like that, sometimes he would invest that back into that and give that as a tip. So I think lumping all of that in is about mindset, and it's about what is our relationship with the money and what are we trying to accomplish. And the reason I brought all that up is one of the things I think James is good at that we've all seen as his friends is quality of life is one of the big things. One of the things we've seen with the younger people is they're like, screw that, man. I'm not working 50 hours a week and like dying at 60. Like I'd rather not have a job, right? Like these are things that you see now our youth are really teaching us about quality of life. But we have here a pioneer who was the original OG of like, hey, if I need to take time, I need to take time. You'll never see me outside my house because I took a vacation. I take quality vacations. I take extended amount of times to give back. And honestly, I'd love to hear too about that. But also as a benefit, does that make you a better provider because you're taking that time strategically and organizing, right? Because you're taking that time and it's not like they're like, hey, the bills ain't get paid while you're on the cruise ship. You know, where's the electric bill, right? Yeah. You're able to take your time and at the same time as a man in the household, things are taken care of. So tell me about that, looping that in like your R&R process or vacation process and how you.
Yeah, well, the R&R process came, obviously we know we need time for ourselves. But for me, it was about taking time for myself, obviously, but also not like in the work in the winters. I work construction. I'm a union construction worker. I own my home, and I like to enjoy my home. I like to be home sometimes. So I know my whole thing about when you make money, and like you said, how do you feel about the money? You want to keep it in your pocket, right? So when I'm earning money, I'm not spending money. Like my kids, I have a son older than her. What do y'all used to do for me
For my dad's lunch, like, of course, you want to be able to enjoy food at work because you're working hard, but he'll work and have just a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and we'll fill up a water bottle filled with water for him. And that's what he would eat every single day. I'll make it for him at night. My brother will make the drink at night, and then he'll have like a little 99-cent coffee sometimes if he needs a little bit of an energy boost.
Yeah. So I'm not saying this is something that you would do. This is what I did as far as being frugal and a penny pincher. So it was them, and then my younger two. Now they're the ones that make my peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day, and they make my water juice. No juice actually, no lemon juice actually, and some little powdered wheatgrass just for it to be healthy. So that being said, so I do that every day, and then sometimes I have a coffee. So that means while I'm at work, I'm not buying any. You take your coffee break. I see guys spending $10, $15 for the coffee break, and I'm seeing guys spend $20, $25 for their lunch. I'm not doing any of that. So I'm saving the coffee break. I'm saving on the lunch. And also when I was younger, I'm not saying you should do this either, but I used to ride a motorcycle since I was young. So for like maybe the last, since I've been in this house, maybe 18, 19, I ride my motorcycle to work. So now I'm spending like a gallon of gas round trip. So pretty much when I'm working, whatever I have, whatever I'm making at my job, that pretty much is all, for the bills. I'm not spending any. So I go to work to make money, not to spend money. So therefore, all that money is no overhead. So, and that adds up, week to week. You figure like maybe I'm saving $30, $40 per day between gas, between lunch, between coffee break.
Even in the city when you're trying to park too.
Yeah, free parking for the motorcycle.
Free
parking. Yeah, so it's definitely frugal, borderline cheap. But at the same time, you add that up. That's why by the time 8 months I come in, I've been working for 8 months or so. Now I could take off when the winter time comes, or I haven't taken my cruise my cruises. Haven't taken one in a year. What's it been a year? Like a year and a half, right?
Yeah, I think.
But they miss them. Yeah. They miss them.
Yeah, but I would take my cruises in the wintertime because that money adds up, and I'm putting that money to the side every week, putting it to the side, budgeting. So eventually, it adds up where I could take the time off in the wintertime and also take a vacation. So I'm not saying everyone should do exactly what I'm doing, but you could take little tidbits from here and add it to your own little budgeting platform, and it could do well for you.
We got a little group chat, right? And when every time this guy says, "Oh yeah," when I get back from work, we'll, whether we're going to play basketball or pickleball or something like that. Man, stop playing. We know you ain't at work, man. So no, just to go, he budgets so well that he's able to take, so much time off of work because, he views money not just to go out and I'm going to spend money on luxury items and good clothes, but he sees money as a way of freedom, right? So if I spend my money well, I'm able to take this time off and spend this time how I want to spend this time. Where a lot of people, they trade their time for money for, their whole life. They're always working for money. They're working 12 months out the year, 2, 3, 4 jobs, Yeah. After a while, that your body can't hold up. You only could do that for so long.
That's what it is, right? If you're trading time for money.
Yeah, and you get run down too, because like I know sometimes between either taking like I worked with 2 winters ago. I did work 2 winters ago, but I know for my little winter hiatus and the taking a cruise, like while I'm working and I'm having a bad day, I have my eye on that prize. You know what I mean? So throughout the whole year, throughout the entire year, if you're looking towards that, you know, it definitely makes your day go by a little bit better if you're having a bad one. Because you're like, at the end of this year, I'm doing that. I'm gonna be right back in the Caribbean, snorkeling and looking at the fish and stuff like that. That's what I do. So it gives you something to shoot for. Because sometimes, just having, it might be a cruise, it might be anything that you might particularly want. You might be into certain nice things, and if you're saving up for it, it'll definitely keep you motivated as while you're making money and while you're having a possible bad day or bad week to power through it.
Right.
Huge.
And I know we're talking about, the way we spend money, and I know one of the questions was, would you split a bill 50-50?
Oh yeah,
so I
on
know
the frugal versus cheap.
Yeah, I know you also do a little bit of relationship coaching. What advice do you have for young men, young women who are out in the dating field now looking for their significant other, as far as and you see this all the time on like social media, like you got to spend $300 on the first date, you got to go to Roof Chris, or how do you feel about that?
No, this one's a real tough one. It's a real because things have changed so much over the years. I mean, I could give you my particular example and what I used to tell my friends when I was younger, but I'm not sure how applicable it's going to be now because it's changed so much. But as far as the money wise and spending money when you're first dating, this is how it was. I always told them that I was a poor black man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I told them straight up. I'm not sure if that would work now though, but I'm telling you what I did.
I didn't know that.
And it used to work. Yeah, so I would tell them, yeah, I'm a poor black man, girl. So pretty much if they wanted to hang out with me, they was hanging out with me for me. And this is when I was in the union. I was like 19, 20 years old in the union. And back then I was making, this is way before inflation went bananas.
Right.
You're a full mechanic in the union. It was pretty decent, so, inflation hit. So now it's still okay, but it's not like it used to be. But that being said, I would say that, poor black man, whatever. And then we'll go out still. And, we used to do this little $2 movie theater they had in Manhattan. And then hit this little Wendy's. You know what I mean? And that's who I eventually married. She had just graduated college. She was willing to take me to the $2 movie theater and splurge on me on the 99 cents meal at Wendy's back in the day.
99
But
cents.
I knew what her motivations were. That was the main point. So
Hold on. Hold on. So she was paying for the $2 movie theater and the
yeah, initially because I told her I was a poor. I can't go out. I couldn't make it.
Wow, that.
So I told her I couldn't make it, and she was like, "No, I got it." And
fellas, write this down.
but at the same time, I knew her motivation though. She liked me.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right. Definitely.
that was the main point. You know what I mean? So I've always said the reverse is true. We talked about this before the podcast. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Because eventually, yeah, of course, I took her out and everything as well. Right. And this was around the time I was still, taking care of the mortgage for my mom. And so money was still tight. Paying my own insurance. I'm like 18, 19 years old, whatever. But at the same time, I established that, yeah, I am definitely frugal with the money.
Right.
And I saw where she was coming from as far as whether or not, was it for what I was going to give her, or was it because of, what she liked from me, just being around me.
Right.
And the flip side is true, too. Like, you can ball out. Like you said, they say how much you should spend on a first date, $300, $400. Yep, that's cool. You can have a good time. But guess what? If you're spending $300 and $400 and your budget's really only $100, and you're doing that $300 to get, in good with the young lady, to influence how she feels about you.
Right.
So now it works. It works. Now you're together. What do you think's gonna have to keep happening?
Yeah, keep spending.
What you gonna do? Yeah, but your budget's
if
really
you get used to
$100.
that.
You're $100 guy, but you're taking out a $300 woman. Technically, if you want to call it that, you know what I mean. So if you got her spending $300, $400 on a date, that means now that y'all together, to keep her happy, you got to do the same thing. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you're about. But now if you're not able to keep that, so how are you going to keep her happy? So what's going to happen in years to come? And you fall in love with this woman.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to have a hard time staying together because that's how y'all got together. So pretty much how y'all get together from the beginning is how you have to continue to stay together generally.
Definitely.
Yeah, because what you would do on the flip side, if not financially, whatever, however she was expecting of you, however you was expecting of her. Like she looked a certain way, she dressed a certain way, and now years later she's changing. Her hair's changed, whatever else changed. You will feel you will feel some type of way too. As far as she's not doing or treating you the same way she did from the beginning. So the same way financially. So you have to take that into consideration as far as your spending habits in the beginning of the relationship. Yeah, I think that's important.
Absolutely. No, it's a great point. I think what you're saying too, like what I get from all these things, and Jasmine, I want to hear your opinion too, is, again, like there's nothing right or wrong or yes or no, but these are some really, really good points, right? Because how many times have you went to an expensive restaurant and you see the people are miserable or on their phone, right? And it's like a big expensive restaurant versus you could see the same couple somewhere else. So I think it's a great point. What I'm hearing is, especially how does this relate to money? Because money is one of the biggest breakups of relationships, right? Money is one of the biggest things that breaks up marriages. So I think what I'm hearing from you is being in agreement, like being on the same page, right? Like, hey, this is where we're at. And it sounds like you focused a lot more on the quality of the situation. It wasn't like it was quality time in the movie theater. It was quality time at Wendy's, wherever it was, which I think is important because like you said, if you and just framing what you were saying, right? If from a psychological standpoint, if we need that dopamine hit where, man, it's not important. And look, right, again, to the women, it's not just right or wrong, but it's all about like a dopamine thing where if the only way to get that dopamine hit on either side is that my partner dropped a significant amount of money for me and I'm not concerned whether they can afford it. I'm not concerned where they're at. I'm just concerned with I deserve these funds and this experience. That's sometimes where the disconnect can happen. So I think like, what you're saying, being in agreement, love, right? How many years married now?
28 now, yeah.
28, ladies, right? So
Love don't cost a thing.
love don't cost a thing.
Love used to be free. I'm not sure. I don't know anymore. I've been out of the game for a long time, but it's like you have to. It costs some money sometimes, but at the same time, if it's the rarity that you do, it's still free. It's still free.
Okay,
it's
so
out there.
I got a tough question now. You have daughters. I have daughters.
I got daughters.
If someone approached your daughter with the same mentality that you had with I'm a poor black man. Maybe he is generally a poor black man, but he didn't really have anything coming to the table at the moment.
Yeah, we kind of been through that a little bit. Like he definitely has to be bringing something to the table. Like even in my situation, like I wasn't particularly telling the truth necessarily, but I was from the standpoint that I had a budget, even though I was making good money, because I was literally paying a mortgage at like 18, 19 years old. So, but at the same time, when I came to her parents, that was their main thing. Her parents, they came here early to set up shop and brought the kids. So they wanted her to make sure she's fine when she's getting married. Right. So when I came, I was a little baby face guy, They were like, who is this guy? But once they find out what I do and how much I make, because at the time I was making good money as far as being 19, 20 years old, full mechanic.
Right.
So it was different, So if someone came the same way as me and they did have a decent, stability of income, I'll be okay with it, But like me, I wasn't particularly a poor black man per se. I was able because I was taking care of my mom. I was already structured to take care of a family already. Okay. So if he's the same way as that, whereas he's budgeting, taking care of his mom, whatever it may be, and then I know he could take care of her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because that's the example. The same way, the flip side is also true. Not talking about finance. I watched how she took care of her younger brothers, my wife. That's why I did get married young. Because I never thought I would get married that young, but I watched her. She had 2 little brothers. So whereas I was taking care of my mom financially and stuff, she see that. That's what I needed to do. So now her parents know I could take care of a family. Right. I watched her take care of her little brothers, how she nurtured to them, how she was sweet. There was none of this yelling back and forth. So that's the flip side in the relationship is concerned. So I knew she was ready to take care of her family as well. How she treated her father, she took care of her father. She was old school as far as, despite being a career woman, she graduated college, but she also would make sure hold her father down with some food, prepare the plate, clean the plate, simple stuff like that. It's traditional. That's different than how it is nowadays. That's what kind of won me over and made me, want to get married. So two things are true as far as, what she did to prove to me and what I did to prove to her. So if that happened to her, as far as what a guy's concerned, he came, I could see that he's taking care of his mom, despite the fact that he's having hard times. I'll be fine with it because he's shown what he could do for her in the future.
Right. It's deep.
Very potential, man. It's like pause on that one, right? It's like, and again, it almost ties into cheap, right? Like you see someone, if they're not spending something, you can kind of tell the intention behind it, right? Is it because they don't want to, or I think that's
Yeah, what's the
excellent points.
motivation behind it? Yeah.
Yeah, what's the motivation?
Because you can not to get, you can get a guy who has all this. Oh, he comes from his family is this, and he makes this much money. But then if you dive deeper, you go watch how they're with their family members,
Right.
and it's all It's no real connection at home. You watch how he or she, despite the finances, how they dealing. So now it's like, do you want, as much as young folks these days, they want finances. They're like, oh, he better be making this, that, and the third, or whatever it may be. Is that worth it if you see how he's dealing with his mom or you see how he's dealing with his sisters? So he's treating them, they always arguing, and he's treating them a certain type of way, but he's making all, is it worth it, the money? Some say, yeah, but is it going to pay off in the long run? So you have to really weigh it. You want finances, but how much finances as far as how much personality and charisma, or Riz as they call it, the kids, right? Riz.
There is.
How much
So one of
charm.
our episodes, Riz.
Definitely with the Riz. Jasmine, speaking of like Riz or like, but what would you say is like one financial topic or either a mindset or something positive that you've learned, would you say maybe from your parents or in the household as it relates to money and mindset?
Honestly, I feel like the main way that I guess live my life obviously is because of them. I would say like I like to go out a lot with my friends, have a good time and stuff like that. And whenever I do that, I try to obviously find the most financially affordable thing for everybody that's also fun. But then at the same time, it doesn't really matter so much more about the place that you're going or how much it costs. I feel like it just matters about the people that you surround yourself with, because that's what makes a better time. I would say that like there's different aspects with like saving. Of course, I can say that I'm not 100% the best saver, but I have been trying to do that this year. I would say that when it comes to buying like food and stuff like that, and even with clothes, because now I'm older, my parents are not going to buy my clothes anymore for me. Hair products, anything like that is all on me now. So I need to basically find the best deals. Sometimes it's either I just go to the store and buy it, or I just buy it online where it's cheaper and then just wait for it to come a few days. Or with my clothes, like I said, I'll go to the thrift stores. With my food, I like to make food at home and then bring it to work. Like my parents will see me going to work with meals. Not really meals, but I'll make the food at home and take it to work. And then that's what helps me to not buy food at work, because then it's like if you're Ubering something or Door Dashing something, that's like an extra $7 in itself. That could cover a whole meal, So I'll make my food at home, pack it, and I'll bring it to work. So there's just little stuff that, I would do. Even with gas, like I drive a truck, so gas is really expensive for the truck. Like I have to get 93, so it's almost $100 to fill up. So, I try to, like, of course, I drive a lot of places. I drive my sister's places, friends' places, and it could be hard to afford that gas. But my mom tells me to stop putting, like, $15 in every single time. So maybe, like, I've been trying to work my way up. Instead of putting, like, 15, I'll start putting, like, $30 to $40 in, so that if I'm ever stuck out there, I'll make sure I'll still have gas in the tank, even though it's so expensive,
I like that. Thinking ahead,
Yeah.
As you're learning. So I think we've got some really good information for our audience here. And there's probably one others that maybe I'm being a little selfish and wanting to know and get both of your perspectives. But rent, at what age is it appropriate? Well, it's not appropriate, appropriate or not appropriate. But let's say, right, you're a parent in a house and you have a young person and it's like, hey, right, you want to support and help out. At what point, and I want to hear from both sides because it's important. At what point is rent okay, not okay? How do you have that conversation? What's the mindset around rent?
That's always interesting when I've had talks with guys my age and a little bit older, and the views are all over the place. But I know for me personally, growing up was very extreme as far as, I told you where I come from as far as, broken home and having to pretty much pay a lot as far as out of my pocket as a teenager. But as far as my kids is concerned, I incorporate similar, but not as stringent or as extreme. So it's always like a little bit percentage when they got their little jobs. It's always so they understand that there's bills. You know, because one thing at the youngest of possible ages, you need to teach them, you know, the value of the dollar, not to disrespect like, yo, it's $1, whatever, you know. And a lot of kids, they grow up having that attitude because when they start to make their little money, that's my money. Meanwhile, they live in your household. So I'm not sure how that balances out to me personally. It doesn't balance that. That's all your money when you're in my household. So I taught them at a young age, you know, whatever it may be, like 5 to 10%, a little small thing, but it was just something to give us just so they know that, hey, there are bills. And then when they get a certain age and they had a better job, then they start paying a percentage of their phone bills. Right now, like you pay your own phone bill. I know right now, right? Yeah. That was for a
I
couple
bet she
years
know every
now.
bill she pays.
Yeah. For a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Like, of
It's been
course,
10 years,
I was
Dad.
dreading the moment. It's like
Years, Dad.
10 years.
Since I was 12 years, Dad, 12 years old, Dad, for my lemonade stand
Only
just to
kid in
afford
my
a
class
phone.
paid their own cell phone bill.
I delivered newspapers just to pay for my cell phone, Dad. No, I'm just
Yeah.
playing, but yes.
You dread the moment sometimes, but I guess it helped to set up for more responsibility. Starting, like, of course, when I got my job, just the little things that my parents stopped paying for, my clothes, hair products, any type of, you know, things that I, you know, want, they'll stop paying for it now. So I have to pay for that. Then it moved to where I have my household contribution, not close to rent, but it's still a household contribution that I pay every month. You know, that helps with responsibility on top of paying my car insurance now and my phone bill. So these are things that help me to make sure that I'm being financially responsible with my money throughout the month so that I can make sure that I can pay what I had to pay to my parents. Yeah, it's sad once I had to press that button to press send for the money, but money comes back. It does.
But it's a way you teach them what they call flying the nest, right? What they call it? What's the proper terminology? Where they say they leave.
Oh, they gotta leave. Yeah, they gotta fly.
I forgot exactly how you say it when they leave the nest or whatever it may be.
Yeah, they gotta.
Yeah.
I be trying to tell my kids I'm trying to raise eagles, not turkeys. You know,
Yeah.
like
Because you want them to fly, right?
And that's good.
So you have to teach them. You can't do all the flying. We do all the flying for them. How they gonna leave the nest? So you have to teach them at least a little bit. I was extreme. I used to be extreme. I used to have this little joke because people was like, "Man, how your kids are so independent." Whatever it may be. I said, "Yeah, you got to teach them how to fly." So I do like this. I'm like, if I was a bird, I pretty much say, "Hey, look at me," and then I kick them out the. And they go fly. They fly. But I've seen with actual birds, they actually do that. They literally their first flight. I think an eagle actually. They're from high. They literally just before they can even fly, they just jump out. And sometimes they'll spiral and they might land, but they'll land soft because they're trying to fly. But eventually they get up and they fly. So the same thing with them. Don't be that extreme. I'm just making jokes, obviously. But to me, getting down to as far as the point we're making, a percentage is definitely is good because when they finally leave the nest, they're prepared. Like me, I was extreme. So you talking about back in the 90s, I was like $100 a week. Back in the 90, 94. I'm talking about 90, exactly. If I'm being right, not the 95, 96. Up until I got married. I remember when I got married at my wedding, and I had a hard time because I paid for paid for all the wedding pretty much. But I still owe my mom a few, like $300 some odd dollars. And she's funny, you know, she's a very comical person. So when she gave me my wedding, my envelope, she gave me $300 and some odd dollars. That's how much I owed her. So it wasn't like, oh, she's giving it to me. You think, oh, that's so sweet. She gave it to you. The next week, when I came back from my honeymoon, she's like, Jim, you know you owe me $300 some odd dollars.
Oh my gosh.
So we broke even, basically. So the point of that, as I'm saying, is that I come from a very stringent extreme.
Yeah.
So that's why when I got married, I'm 22 years old. I remember seeing a lot of my friends at that age. They were so nervous. Like, oh, they were sweating at the wedding. It was breezy for me because I knew I'm already set up to provide for a family. So I had no problems. You know what I mean? I was not nervous. None of that. So the same thing with your kids. You provide them. You set them up so that when they leave the nest, they are prepared for anything that life throws at them.
I love that. Eloquent right there. And as we're wrapping up the episode, we'll get kind of closing remarks from everyone. But one of the things, definitely want to thank you both. Really, it's a mindset, what we learn. It's about how we view the money. What's our relationship with it? And are we really using it? Because, you know, as we always hear, money is supposed to be a tool. It's not supposed to be a master. So thank you, James and Jasmine, for really showing us how to be the master over those funds and where, you're able to direct those funds, take time that you need, and also, very importantly, not give a you know what about what anybody has to say, especially when you have your eye on the prize, like you said, and you know that your actions are leading towards your goal. Who cares what anyone else is saying about your goal? You've got your eye on that. So thank you so much for like breaking that down. My man is also a singer, and while we didn't get to cover that, please make sure the link will be in the post so you can hear. And he actually did perform at Nam Studios. So we're so happy. A lot of history here. Jasmine is a repeat guest. So I'm Richie, your co-host here. Thanking you very much, and pass it on to Jay.
Stock Knock Life. It's been a pleasure having y'all on the show.
No problem.
Learned a lot. A lot of gems was definitely dropped. A lot of budget, a little bit of relationship advice. So I appreciate you guys coming out.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
The full gamut, James. So where can, as far as your singing, when's the next performance? Where do you normally perform? What can the audience know about your that voice, man, you've been blessed with?
Yeah, I normally perform at this lounge on Sunrise Highway called the Ooh La La Lounge. Interesting name, but a nice little lounge. And I haven't done a show in a few months. So my next show probably coming up in a couple of months. Maybe I'll use your platform as well as Namdi to advertise it, get it packed again once I start. So I'm taking a little break. I did like maybe 16 months straight. So I took a little break. So when I get back going, I'll definitely use, if it's okay with you all, use your platform to advertise. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, it'd be our pleasure. This guy right here epitomizes Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. So I love that. I love that. Jasmine, any closing remarks?
No, it was great to be here. Nice conversation. Got some advice from you guys. Was able to speak about things that I know. And, I'm grateful for my dad for how he raised me to follow his frugal self. Nice.
All right. So thank you, everyone. And remember, we don't want to be cheap, but we do want to be frugal and know where our funds are going.